It's exciting to have Motherboard back in the studio here. I love when we get to get our hands on some tech stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And find out what's going on, because as much as I try to keep up on it, every time I talk to Nick, I was like, wow, I didn't know about that either. I'm always falling behind. Nicholas, how are you, man?
Not bad. Thanks for having me again.
No, anytime. And you brought somebody with you.
Yeah, I brought Kari Paul. She's a reporter at Motherboard. She's pretty great. So I just thought another person would, join the party.
Hi,
Awesome.
Kari, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I think that's,
Good to be
the
here.
mic's a little
Can you
too
hear me?
high. Yeah,
Should I try to?
bring that down
Is
a
that better?
little bit. There you go.
Cool.
What do you
Hello.
do at Motherboard? Like, tell me about your day. Like, what are you responsible? Are you his boss?
No, he is my boss.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I write a little bit with him. I write a little bit about consumer tech, similar issues to that, tech reviews, things like that. And then I also cover. I started my coverage at Motherboard with the Silk Road trial, so I was covering a lot of deep web drug markets,
wow.
developments in that. So
What did you
just a
think of,
variety.
if you were covering that, what did you think of Alex Winter's movie?
It was great. I saw it after the trial was finished, so it was kind of interesting after being in the center of all of it to see a recap. I know there are a lot of different opinions, of course, on how he portrayed Silk Road in general. It's such a divisive topic, and of course, everyone has their theories of whether there were multiple Dread Triad Roberts and how likely that was. And of course, it's such a fast-changing story that, yeah, it was really interesting to see that all put together.
Wow, being in there, it was just creepy enough finding out about the dark web and the deep web. How do you? The Silk Road.
Yeah.
There's all these different names for it. That I was like, how do you even remotely try to get to that thing? And then you got to download this software and go to this other thing, and hopefully you get permission from other people to talk to them. It's like a whole to-do. It's very complicated.
Yeah.
So it's not worth your
In some
time.
ways, it's as easy as just downloading Tor, and you can access things pretty easily. But as far as navigating it, you never know exactly where and how you'll end up places.
Is there any good that comes out of going that deep into the internet?
Yeah, I mean, I just covered the other day people holding a bake sale on the deep web just to kind of just to kind of counter the negative impressions that people have of it, and it's used by activists and just a lot of people who don't want to be tracked. Everything they do. So I think a lot of people can identify with that.
Can
mentality.
people, but like it's like Snapchat when they say, oh, your photos are deleted, but they're not really deleted. There's somewhere that they can be accessed. Is it the same with that kind of web there, going that far into it, that even though they're like, oh, you're off the grid, but really there's always a way to find you?
It's been debated how traceable different Tor nodes are, but I mean, for general purposes, no, it's not very traceable. If you use it, it's much safer than using Google Chrome. I mean incognito mode as well. That's not actually.
So they're
private.
lying to us? Oh man, I gotta clear my cache. Damn it. All right. You also doing stuff with, did I read, you did a thing on GamerGate?
Right, I've been covering GamerGate and the South by Southwest mess that's been happening the last week or so.
Can you give a quick explanation to people who don't know what GamerGate is and why anyone, like if you're not in the industry, why this is a big story that people should pay attention to?
Right, so the origins of it are based in kind of this idea of ethics in video game journalism, and it kind of originated from a personal argument, I guess you would say, between a developer and kind of this idea that people should, within the gaming community, should disclose their relationships with maybe people that they're reviewing games of, things like that. But it kind of wildly went out of hand and turned into sort of a harassment campaign.
It was like a witch hunt, right?
Right, of mostly women in the gaming community, and it kind of became, and it's a decentralized
Names were
movement.
being besmirched.
Right, and it's
Worse than that.
Yeah, there
Far
were
worse
a
than
lot of people being doxxed, rape threats, death threats of just people just for for no reason, pretty much.
Sounds like Reddit.
Right, so it's been an ongoing
more like
saga.
4chan.
Right, it's been an ongoing saga, all centered around the hashtag GamerGate on Twitter, and of course on Reddit as well. And so recently, there was a scandal with South by Southwest wherein a panel that was anti-harassment caught the attention of GamerGate, which GamerGate assumed an anti-harassment panel was anti-GamerGate, which I think says a lot about the nature of that discourse.
Yeah.
and proceeded to downvote it on South by Southwest website, etc. The anti-harassment panel ended up getting approved, and then GamerGate basically said, if this panel is getting a space, then we want our own space too, kind of like a counter debate in a way. South by Southwest ended up approving that panel that did not bill itself as pro-GamerGate. It billed itself as neutral, but it did feature a couple prominent GamerGate members. So the anti-harassment panel, some of whom have been targets of GamerGate, one of whom had her mother's house swatted by members of GamerGate, understandably had some safety concerns about sharing the same venue with these people who have, targeted them with a concerted harassment campaign for,
I'm
months.
getting anxiety just hearing this.
I know.
Right. So it just became a mess. And of course, the people on the anti-harassment panel said, hey, what type of security are you going to be having at this event where people who have had known cases of following people at events, calling in SWAT teams, I mean, not these specific panelists, but, people affiliated with GamerGate. And they largely had their concerns ignored by Southwest, or one panelist got a fairly patronizing email saying, it's just about diversity of ideas and we want to feature everyone. And of course, they weren't very satisfied with that response. And they brought it up, and it just kind of got out that this harassment panel was receiving harassment. And then South by Southwest just canceled both of the panels and said that there were threats of violence against the anti-harassment panel. So the anti-harassment panel was shut down due to harassment. Vox Media and BuzzFeed pulled out of South by Southwest, or they said if this isn't
They
reinstated,
scared everyone away.
Yeah, well, no, it was more of BuzzFeed saying if this isn't reinstated, you're basically letting harassers win, and we don't want our name affiliated with that. So they pulled out, and now South by Southwest has backtracked completely and reinstated both panels, as well as making a day-long summit on online harassment to try to make right.
Is the origin of all of this really worth where this went? Like the levels that were built off of that, was it really worth that?
It's gotten very out of hand, I think people on all sides would say. And of course, the anti-harassment panel was never saying, we don't want this GamerGate panel to be at South by Southwest. They were just saying, we have some security concerns that we would like addressed before we have our panel there on the same venue as people who have harassed us. And they had their concerns largely dismissed. So it's become a larger discussion of how do you facilitate conversations about controversial topics and make everyone feel like their voices are heard and that they're going to be safe in this area.
Does everyone need to be heard?
Everyone needs to be heard.
It's just the irony of like the anti-harassment group getting harassed. Like it's just like
closing down.
Yeah, just
that's
crazy.
what happened to the people who used to do
Hashtag
Hell
karma.
Night. They graduated to
Right. It's one of those things where it's you want to give two sides of a debate equal standing, but when one side of the debate is objectively crazy, and you give them both equal standing, is it really objective? I think that's kind of and I'm not saying it's this panel specifically, but when you look at the movement,
Yeah, a lot of
there are some precautions that need to be taken.
Is it close-
They've even had bomb threats called in on previous GamerGate affiliated events, so I think it's not unreasonable.
So it's
to
not
ask
even
for
close
more
to being
security.
over.
No, and on top of the ongoing drama is that they reinstated these panels, and they made a whole day of anti-harassment summits. They're really trying to show that they care about harassment, and it came to the attention of the anti-harassment panel that was reinstated that they were also reinstating the GamerGate panel on the harassment day, which by no means really makes sense because it's a panel about ethics and video games journalism. That's what they're billing it as. So it has nothing to do with harassment. It's about journalism, and it has a Society of Professional Journalists representative on it. It's a conversation about ethics and journalism. And so I think a lot of people are saying, why is this even on the anti-harassment day?
Right.
And so a lot of the panelists who were reinstated are saying, wait a second, you can reinstate us, but I don't know if I even want to come if these people are still going to be on the panel. It's like they're saying you're inviting our harassers to our anti-harassment panel. So that's the current situation, and I don't think South by Southwest has responded yet.
Does
I mean,
anyone
they haven't
remember
answered
what the festival originally started out to be?
Yeah.
An arts
Music.
and entertainment
Yeah.
festival
Wow.
where people of like-minded interests could come and hang out in a brand new town that was up and coming.
It was about freaking out the establishment in Texas, man.
Keep Austin weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are the threats toward? Like, what are the people getting super angry about that are threatening rape? What is it about?
The specific threats that shut down South by Southwest never disclosed to any of the panelists or any journalists or anyone. They just said there have been violent on-site threats made, and so we are shutting this down.
Wow.
Yeah, so they never specified. In terms of other threats, I'm not sure the reasoning behind it, but there have been a lot of people who have been doxxed, had their address published with rape or death threats. One of the panelists who was very concerned about her safety had her mom was swatted. They had a SWAT team go in, and it's like a prank that is obviously kind of terrorizing. So
Yeah, I don't know if people know what that swatting is, but
it's when you call a
crazy.
SWAT team on someone's
Wow.
house. Like you call the police and say, oh, there's a kidnapping situation or a hostage situation or whatever, and the police are obligated to send, a SWAT team there because they don't want to take risks. And then you can do it to random people.
And there's no way to
terrorize
find
them.
out who the person was who was
Right, I
pulling
think
the
it's
prank.
it's pretty hard
track.
to trace. So, yeah.
Yikes.
I hope I
Yeah.
succinctly described that
I
the
re-
drama of
Yeah.
South by Southwest. It's been a week.
So just blocking these people on Twitter is not going to make it go away.
No, probably not so much. Especially because you have some people who are, celebrity status that are, I guess depending on what your opinion is, but are on the wrong side of the argument.
Right.
And so that kind of, I think that kind of escalates it. It makes it worse because people see somebody who is respected maybe by the pop culture community, being involved, and that hurts.
All the nonsense that you're covering here with the deep web and GamerGate and all that stuff, do you find it hard to just go to sleep at night? Like when you get home, are you like, what's the point? I just got to deal with this tomorrow.
It is bizarre. Like trying to explain Gamergate to someone who's never read about it is very bizarre. And especially with people like this where they have real threats to their safety. And I mean, I can't imagine the position this panelist is on, calling her mom and saying, did you get swatted today? It's for this internet movement called Gamergate. Like, try explaining that to your mom, why a real threat of violence is coming to her front door because of this internet movement that is very hard to describe to someone who is unfamiliar with it. So it kind of goes to show, I guess, these internet communities and how, maybe removed from day-to-day life that they are, but they do matter, and it's about a broader conversation about whose voices are being heard in the tech community, and it's clear that
I think breakthrough helps us.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's clear that you have to do some counteracting of the ongoing tactics that are being used to silence people. So
I think when you try to describe it to somebody who hasn't been kind of at least following it, even just loosely or peripherally, it sounds ridiculous. Like it sounds like really this is going on now, and it's obviously a very serious thing. But you're right, when you try to describe it to somebody that has no idea, they're kind of like it's shock.
Right, particularly, considering like the origin is allegedly like the ethics in journalism and video game journalism. It's not even ethics in journalism.
It's
ethics in video game journalism.
Yeah.
To go from that to like threats made against people on a panel and like swatting, like that's literally insane.
You know how it's serious? It was the storyline of an episode of SVU.
There you go. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's how you know it reached the right status in the public eye.
Well, I remember when it first broke, and I was watching this thread that was spread out from 4chan, where people were like, "This is how we're gonna blackmail this reporter. This is how we're gonna it's threaten her with rape. This is how we're gonna threaten people in murder." I was like, Jesus Christ! Like these people are just fucking nuts.
Crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
don't
not
get it.
even
Yeah.
it's not even the tangible rape and murder threats, which are obviously very concerning, but just the constant stream of harassment that a lot of people get. I even had one of my articles tweeted by a prominent Gamergate person with the hashtag in my handle, and I spent all weekend last weekend blocking people. And it was just a few days for me, it's fine, but I know some people, that's their life, is just getting constant streams of people tweeting at them that they suck. And you might say, oh, it's internet harassment. It's on the internet. It doesn't matter. But it's...
Or mom.
It's your work. It's these days, the internet is where we live. It's where we work.
Of course, yeah.
And imagine somebody coming into your office and sitting next to your desk all day and saying, you suck, you're bad, you suck and you're bad. It's not...
It gets to you.
Yeah, it's not easy to ignore. And I think some people, that's just their constant when they become a target of one of these things. And that's kind of what this panel was addressing, which is kind of why it's so unfortunate that it was canceled and why people were so upset. Because it's such an issue right now.
Do you ever get to write about anything fun?
Yes, I do. I get to try out all sorts of wacky things. I got to expense a ghost detector the other day.
Whoa.
And test to see if the Vice office is haunted. It was not.
What does
I
it
did
look
not
like?
hear any ghosts.
It's got two little things on it.
Is it the old
You can probably look
Ghostbusters
at it on
toy
the
that they put
website.
lights on?
It's like a little radio with a. If you click on that South by Southwest article, you can go to my byline and like look at. Yeah, click on my name.
But it's something people
can
really
see
think
the-
can detect ghosts. It's
Yeah,
on, like on
It's
Ghost,
the
Ghost
third
Hunters.
one. Yeah,
Nice.
that's a spirit box.
It looks like a microphone.
$69.99
Looks like a
on
Bearcat
Amazon.
scanner.
Yeah.
It's like, I hear voices. No, you got somebody's portable phone.
It's just a radiation
And they're
detector.
talking shit about you. So this is it right here that we're looking
Right.
at, the
The spirit box.
PSV7 Spirit Box.
Yep.
So what is this frequency that it's measuring here?
It just kind of cycles through radio stations, actually. And the concept is that spirits are able to manipulate the words coming out of the radio.
I think
and
K-Rock's
talk
haunted.
to you. Yeah, so
So what did you find?
I didn't hear anything. And I did a control test. So I tested it in the Vice office. I didn't hear anything. And then I went to this restaurant near the Vice office that is known for being haunted. There's a New York Times article about how it's haunted. And so I tried it there too, and I didn't hear anything there. So
Which
I don't know.
restaurant?
Sweetwater
Oh, yeah.
in
I've heard about
Williamsburg. Yeah, there's like a whole New York Times article about a lot of employees have quit very abruptly and said that they saw ghosts and things like that. And so I thought
What's
I'd
the
try
one
it
in the
there.
West Village
It's a
that they
bunch
said
of
is haunted?
malarkey. I don't know.
A restaurant?
They're all haunted.
Yeah, it's
Eric.
a pub
It's
down
New York
there.
City. Everything's haunted
Oh.
here.
I'm trying to think of the name of
Chumley's?
it.
The old speakeasy? That seems like it could be.
That could be. There could
Maybe.
be people still in the walls there.
Yeah, I know. We're hiding out.
I don't remember it.
Through virtual walls.
So was this worth your time? I guess not. I mean, was it at least fun to do?
Yeah, it was fun to do.
What do you think you would have done if you actually found something?
I don't know, man. The Vice office is
I would've
moving,
dropped
so
it
I'd
and
be
ran.
like, good riddance.
Me too.
Well, the Amazon reviews were crazy because I got on Amazon and a lot of the reviews were like, please make sure you close the door to the other world. Like, this is not anything to mess around with. And like, there were like, a
my
lot of
God.
warnings. And so I definitely took those into account when I was testing the spirit box. There were a lot of
Well,
very
did you
serious
close the
reviews.
door to the other world? Because
Yeah, are we going to get haunted right now?
I mean,
I
I
have a
might have
bone
brought
to
my
pick with
ghost
you.
with me.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Well, here comes Zool. Nothing we can do now. Thanks, Spirit Box.
Spirit Box sounds like Tommy Two-Tone. What is this?
Well, Nicholas has some stuff over here that doesn't look like Spirit
Yeah,
Box
completely
here.
unrelated to GamerGate and ghosts.
Let's
and
start with
so
some.
forth.
Let's not go with the big gun here. Let's start with
Okay.
something smaller
All right,
and then
smaller.
work our way up.
Okay, well, I guess the main event will hold on. But right now, I've got a couple of things over here. I've got the new Apple TV, which is in stores today, or it's trickling into stores today. And the new thing here is that, I don't know what to do with this, but the new thing is that it has built-in Siri and has built-in App Store. Apple TV obviously has been around forever.
And they've never really updated it until now.
No, this is the first major update since 2010, so it's been a little while. But the
Should we pass
they-
it around?
did they forget about it?
Yeah. Did they
I'm
forget?
like, oh
Well,
wait,
they've-
we got Apple TV. We've updated everything else.
Apple has frequently described Apple TV as a hobby. Like, obviously, their biggest business is the iPhone, followed by the iPad and stuff. But so Apple TV has just been there. They invest a whole lot into it, but it's there, and you plug it into your TV. You can watch Netflix, you watch
tiny.
Hulu, watch the WWE Network, all that stuff. Any streaming service you can watch on.
How do
there.
you know my viewing habits, sir?
We may have very similar viewing habits. So the big thing this year, it's got Siri built into it. So the idea is that you press a button in the remote control, and you can ask Siri, find that episode of Friends where Chandler, I don't know, stubs his toe. I don't watch Friends. I have no idea any
How dare
episode
you.
plot line.
Get out
Probably is an
now.
episode. I'm sure that happened.
Or you can use
Find
it.
me the episode of Ms. Chanandler Bong.
Yeah, there you go. Bing. Wasn't
You
it
could
Bing?
use that.
No,
You
that
can-
was his
Oh,
TV
yeah.
guide name, Ms. Chanandler Bong.
Chandler Bong.
Okay, that's great. Then you could use it, just for generally. Find me comedies.
Lewis is
find
laughing
me-
because he knows exactly what episode I'm
Well,
talking about.
the quick start guide says, who stars in Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the examples.
Batista. Dave Batista's in it. I know that
Exactly.
much.
There you go.
So you
WWE
can
Network
ask for
time.
show me comedies, show me Sylvester Stallone movies. The idea is that rather than trying to poke around with that cheap little Apple TV remote, or even with your phone, you can now talk to the
Wow,
TV.
it's heavy.
It's actually a little heavier than the previous model. It's probably about
Yeah, it's a little bigger,
twice as big. Yeah. Yeah, I met Apple yesterday. They ran me through all the features. It's a great little device. My only sort of concern with that is like it starts at 150, which is a little like if you're literally only concerned with like watching Netflix or whatever on your TV, you can get cheaper devices like the Google Chromecast. Is
You can get
35.
Blu-ray players that stream Netflix for $40
Yeah,
now.
and I mean, these apps could also already be built into your TV depending how old it is. So it depends. But the idea is if you get this, you're getting more for your buck. You get Siri. There's an app store now. Before it didn't, the previous models didn't have an app store. So now, just like the iPhone, developers can create apps. They can submit it to Apple, and as long as the apps don't like break any of the App Store rules, you can be an Apple TV. So the first wave of things, there's a Periscope app. There's a bunch of like simple little games. Apple's sort of like really trying to portray this as like not quite like an Xbox like level console, but like it's the games are not all that different from the Nintendo Wii, which was just a couple years ago. So you're waving around the controller. It's fun, lighthearted family entertainment. And as people buy this, as developers see like, oh, there's a big market for like the TV now is a place where we can develop apps for. The idea is that a smartphone, who cares? It's a piece of it's plastic and glass. Until developers actually make compelling software for it, what's the point of it? The idea.
Sure.
So it's the same thing with Apple TV. As it comes out, as people buy it, we wait for developers to sort of see what sort of new experiences they can create with it. There's one of the apps that Apple highlighted was Zuva. I think some exercise app where like you do
Zool.
aerobics in front of it and you follow along and it measures. If you have an Apple Watch, it'll measure like your heart rate as you do the exercise in front of the TV. So it's probably like a little gimmicky right now, but
It's like Connect.
yeah, it's very similar to like to Connect, but yeah, it's from Apple, and if you're already like thoroughly ensconced in like the Apple ecosystem, you might as well just get it because you're gonna watch Netflix, you're gonna watch Hulu, and this from what I've tried, I've only used it like an hour last night. Our review will probably go up like Monday or Tuesday, but yeah, it's great. I mean, if everyone has a streaming thing, and if you're in the market, this is not a bad thing to consider from what I have seen so far.
So I'm guessing that if you don't have Apple TV and you're looking at it, it's worth getting. But if you have the original, wait for the price to drop.
It depends what you use the original for. Like if you just come home and you launch the Netflix app, that still works great. There's no real compelling reason to upgrade. If you're someone who's like, oh well, maybe I wouldn't mind playing games on my TV, or maybe I wouldn't mind, I'm tired of using this dinky little remote. I want to actually, launch apps using, voice search. Then maybe it's worth considering. But if you're set now, I wouldn't say there's like a super compelling reason to go out and like get it.
Okay,
Immediately at least.
Let's move on from that. Let's go to is that Google Cardboard?
Yeah, I've got so part of the theme tonight is virtual reality. I've got a Samsung Gear VR, and plugged into that is a Samsung Galaxy S6. We'll get to that later. And I also brought, just to sort of show off, the Google Cardboard, which is basically, this came out a couple months ago. The idea is that Google wanted to really jumpstart VR development. So they've sort of mass-produced this like little cardboard. It's literally like
It looks like a viewfinder.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
it
viewfinder,
does.
like an old school with the little discs or whatever. The idea is you plug an Android, it could be actually Android or iOS. You plug a smartphone in there, and you download the compatible app, and you could you've got like a very basic sort of VR experience. It's obviously not as advanced as the Gear VR or the Oculus Rift, which requires like a beefed out PC to use.
Right.
But if you want, I've seen there was a World of Warcraft movie trailer that came out in a 360
yeah.
video a couple months ago, and you were on like a griffin and you were like flying around a Stormwind, I believe.
Yeah.
My WoW experience comes out, and it's pretty cool. You just sort of look around, and the idea for these sort of early VR experiences is that it's not like a Star Trek hologram or whatever. The idea is that you put the headset on and you can tilt and whirl your head around in all 360 degrees, so you're not just looking at like a 16:9 image and that's static. You can completely look around the room, and the scenery changes, and ideally you have headphones on so you get 3D audio, so it all seems way more immersive than just looking at a YouTube video.
We're heading towards Ready Player One. It's going to happen.
The Google Cardboard had a huge presence at San Diego Comic-Con. They were just handing these
Oh, did
things
they?
out all over the place. We got a bunch of them in the back. So what I'll do is can't give them away right now because we're racing against the clock. But over the weekend, we'll give these things away. Just so follow us. It's Erik Nagel on Twitter. We'll give away a bunch of these Google Cardboards. Download the app. I tried it. It's actually pretty cool. There was a video where a guy was in a helicopter. and they had all the cameras in a 360 degree
Right.
recording, and you can see him take off in the helicopter from the west side in New York City. He's up above the city. All in real time. You can look down, and now you see down below, above, and you can turn around and see New Jersey while all this is going, and you don't see the video move at all.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff.
That's
yeah,
cool.
they just announced a partnership the other day with the New York Times. The New York Times is going to be sending free Google Cardboard to all of their print subscribers and a select subset of their digital subscribers. They're going to be launching a series of VR documentaries. I believe it's next week or 2 weeks from now. The idea is the first one is going to be about the refugee crisis. So the idea is that you can watch a documentary and that's great, and those are typically excellent. How much better would it be if it's in this new VR sort of perspective?
And can you? I mean, do they sell that in the Google
Cardboard?
Yeah.
I really don't even go to like consumer electronic stores, but yeah, you can go can go to the website and they sell. They start at like $20.
Oh, they're
and
okay.
there's different versions that are like a little fancier, different shaped. This is the most basic one, but yeah, they start at like 20, and I think they top out at like 50 or something. And
Oh,
then
okay, that's
and then
not
from there, like the next level would be something like the Gear VR, which is you do need a newer Samsung Galaxy phone, and then the headset is you can find for like 100 online, 100 or 200 depending on which store you go to. So yeah.
All right. Let's jump to the big guy there,
Okay.
only because we're pressed for time.
Sure.
This is the one that everybody's been waiting for here. And everyone has been staring from that other booth over there. They want to see the virtual reality porn.
Yeah, well, a backstory here.
Is this from your private collection?
This is not from my
Backstory,
private.
indeed.
This is the headset.
Did you
is-
expense this device?
No, the headset is literally on loan from Samsung. I actually used this initially to watch the Democratic debate in VR a couple weeks ago.
That
Sure
doesn't
you
sound
did.
as exciting
That
as
was
porn.
pretty boring. To be honest. On Motherboard, I was like, my whole opinion was like, this sort of like defeats the purpose of VR. Like VR is supposed to like take you to like new experiences and places
Right.
you've never
Yeah, where
been.
you wanna be.
And now it's like I'm sitting in an auditorium watching like Bernie Sanders like talk about like I don't.
Yeah, you don't
God bless them, but like this is
Yeah.
not the best advertisement for the potential of VR. So the headset's on loan from Samsung, the phone's on loan from Samsung, and the impetus was there was a French like a storied French pornography company a couple maybe last week. They released their first VR adult film. And we had done a story on it, and the UK writer who initially was researching the story, she realized like, oh, I don't have a VR headset. Does anyone in New York have one? And I was like, oh, well, I have one. And I certainly didn't wake up that day thinking I was going to be like trying to get VR porn to work on the thing. The biggest issue with this is that there's no like. And there probably never will be like a VR porn app store, so you can't just like, so you can't just like put on the headset, like click around and like download. Like that's probably not going to be allowed by the Oculus folks. So you have to go through a gigantic sort of rigmarole.
Aren't people dying in the Oculus Rift one?
I've never heard of it.
I thought.
I think that was
because
just the South
I know
Park.
there's the.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's where I got it. Because I know it was like a horror suspense thing, but wow.
It was a good South Park.
I thought people were breaking into your house trying to kill you.
What the hell are you talking about? Are
really
you
don't know.
smoking something?
Yeah, and can I have it?
Sorry, continue.
No, so the problem is like you have to basically effectively sideload all this content onto the phone, and it's like if you're like the average Joe, like you're not going to connect your phone to your computer and fiddle with the Android file system and create a new folder, copy like that's just a gigantic friction to like a seamless experience.
Right.
But I did. It took me the better part of a day going back and forth for tech support. Like how the heck I'm on like these weird message boards with like not fellow, but like VR porn enthusiasts. like how do I get this thing to work? And I'm like, I have other things to do today too. Like I didn't wake up with the intention of like doing this story. So it took the better part of a day, but like towards the end of the day,
trying to get this request passed for weeks.
so I figured it out. Huzzah!
Huzzah.
And it worked.
Fire it up.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys want to put? Let me load it up
No.
here.
Give us one of your personal selections.
I mean,
there.
well, there's two files on here. There's a softcore scene where the girls are just sort of like
Nope.
and there's a hardcore scene where
There you go.
where stuff is
Is
happening.
Derek over there? Get Derek in here.
Yeah, I'm putting it on. So
Now,
pardon
is
me.
this like a point of view where you're seeing the
You're
girl
the
in
dick.
front of you?
Yeah.
Yes, you are the guy.
Can you choose the star, like a Rachel star, or
I mean, you could download whatever clip you want and load it to your phone. But right here, I just have the one hardcore clip. Sorry.
This is ridiculous.
I can imagine what the chat rooms with the
Yeah.
VR enthusiasts are like. It's got to be insane.
It's also creepy too when you have your phone in there and then your name's engraved on the back, so everyone's like, "Oh, look what he's doing."
You have to give that
This
thing
is
back
playing.
clean.
If anyone,
Do we have one?
they're
Oh,
not.
all right.
It's not particularly
weird that I'm
comfortable to
looking
wear with
first?
like headphones. Is the issue. You put it in and you can adjust the focus. There's like a little dial up top. The general idea
It's
is
not
that
the focus. Something got shot on the lens.
Oh.
You're
That was
getting
cleaned up
messages.
already.
There's messages
Anyhow.
going
Allie, how
in.
does it look?
I'm just like in the studio though. Nothing's happening. Do I have to press play?
Oh, is this a casting video? Are they asking you where you're
They're
from?
trying to take my. They're getting me to take my clothes off.
Oh, you're on the wrong end of it.
Yeah, my thoughts, which I wrote on the site, were like basically like there's no question it's way more immersive than like a random tube site. Like it's just demonstrably like a completely different experience.
You're right, and-
But the issue is that it's just a little bit silly.
It's pretty silly.
This you have
Yeah.
it's pretty heavy to wear on your head. It doesn't really fit well with glasses. So
Puff,
it's like
puff, pass,
okay.
Giddles.
Just getting it's really hard to multitask, is what he's saying.
All right, Matt's got it on here now.
It's cool. You
To
look
get-
up
to
and
get
you're
the
like, hey,
best-
look, the
that's-
ceiling is
yeah.
there. and
Matt has
shit.
to
Yeah,
take
you
his
are in the
glasses
room.
off
Well,
to
yeah.
look at that.
It's
Oh,
because
it's gonna
of-
be blurry for
No,
him.
no, hang on. That's what I'm saying. Does it have a thing to readjust if you have to take
Yeah,
your glasses
you can
off?
adjust. It works with glasses. They're just a little trickier to like actually get the fit proper on your head.
Well, the only boobs are on the wall. You'll see.
All right.
Oh, when I was there was like people like coming up to the camera and like unzipping pants.
Oh no, they're stationary right now. But off to the side, there
I
was
was
a
at
topless
the-
Wait,
woman on
it's
the wall.
asking me to make a selection.
Sure
What am I
it
doing
is.
How long
here?
is the video clip?
No, it's not saying selection. You have the word
Is that, like,
wrong.
10 minutes, I think. Yeah.
How long has anyone gotten through the video?
that
Wait a
particular
minute. Now I'm in outer space for some reason.
that particular clip is from a company called Boink VR.
Of course it is.
I guess they're sort of the preeminent
VR.
VR
great.
porn providers.
They come in first.
I guess it wasn't good enough because it just took me to my videos.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's just Eric petting
oh,
the
wait.
dog.
Boink. VR. Full circle.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Tap the little. There's like a little touchpad.
Exit
on the right.
to Oculus Home.
Hit no.
No.
I hope that my videos
This
are
is
just the
too much
freakiest
work.
thing.
Yeah. That's the issue. It's like if you're just like
It's not
you want to
showing
do
me.
something. This
I
is a whole
put
lot
that
of-
on and it was just like it worked. I don't know.
It seems,
I don't know, I'm
it
sitting
seems
out of
awesome,
space.
but like, what about cleanup? Like, you can't see the napkin. You can't see like what.
It's on
happens?
loan.
You can't just touch it.
I mean, I don't want to say that the people using this live alone, so there's probably not a whole lot in
So, all right, we're running out of time here. I apologize for that. The virtual reality thing here, that you watch the Democratic debate and porn.
Yes.
Is this worth your time and your money?
I would say the first real killer applications for this will be gaming. The Oculus Rift
Sure.
is going to come out early next year, and it's going to take off from there. If you're just like a regular person who doesn't really care about gaming,
Oh, Derek dropped it on the floor.
Oh, Butterfingers.
You break it, you buy it, my friend.
You got a
now
little too
Samsung's
excited.
mad. Okay, sorry, Junior.
Just you know what? He works at Vice too. He works in the music division. Go over
Okay.
to wherever they are and just steal
I
his
don't know
lunch
where
money.
they keep editorial in a little hole in the wall. Anyhow, yeah. So the idea, like, VR will really explode next year with gaming. If you're just like a civilian, you don't really care about gaming, I would say give it some time. But I truly believe that like VR has the potential. I mean, Facebook bought Oculus for $2 billion. Facebook is not going to throw around. I mean, not that that's a whole lot of money to Facebook, but they're not going to plonk down money on some random startup just because Mark Zuckerberg thinks it's cool.
I just don't-
They believe in it.
I guess outside of porn and gaming, I don't see the applications for it making a lot of sense. Like, I don't know that I would want to watch a movie like that. Well, like,
Right.
why would I want to look around? I want to focus on
Maybe you want to play Mario Tennis.
that's gaming, sir. I just said gaming works.
Right. Well, some of these sort of other applications I've heard, Google was very keen to stress. Like, imagine if you're a teacher and all the kids in the classroom have a cardboard, which are cheap. Everyone's got like cheap Android phones. You can go to the Louvre and you could take your students on a museum trip. And odds are your local school district in the United States probably can't afford a school trip to Paris anytime soon. But maybe they can get some cardboard and
It's the plot to Ready Player One. I'm telling you. Read the book.
The
if you haven't
future
read
is
the
now,
book.
Matt. It's coming. Nicholas, let's get the plugs and everything for you and Kari out.
I'm the editor of Short Circuit, which is the consumer tech section of Motherboard. The website is motherboard.vice.com. And Kari, any And Kari's a reporter at Motherboard, and she's really great at her.
You want to give out your Twitter? Have people follow you?
It's Kari_Paul, P-A-U-L.
P-A-U-L.
Tweet at me.
Very
But not
simple.
that she sucks.
Yeah,
nice
but don't
things.
tweet, don't tweet that.
Tweet
I
nice
mean, you can. I
things.
might block you. I've been pretty
And
liberal with my blocking.
I'm at Nicholas DeLeon on Twitter.
Spell that out.
Nicholas DeLeon.
All right, so if you want to see some of the stuff that we got to review here, I'm a little upset we didn't get a chance to smash the phone around, the brand new...
I can come by anytime.
Yes, we'll have to have you come back, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
we'll throw phones around here and try to break everything.